We were just talking about doing business right. And I'm very fortunate this morning having a gentleman here who is doing business right. I had a chance to talk with him the other day for about 2 hours, and we sat and chatted. And I'm really pleased to be welcoming aboard Century Home Improvements here as a company I'm going to be using, and I want you to use it too. But, more importantly, I want you to hear this morning about business and about a company and about what they do to do it right. And we welcome to here this morning the owner of Century Home Improvements, I would say maybe the co-owner of it, Marshall Nowak, because his wife will be listening to this and she will get me in trouble if I say just the owner, right, Marshall?
Oh, absolutely. No, Pat's pretty good. She's great.
Marshall,
she's
great to have you in this morning. And, people often hear about you at Century Spouting. She's calling right now. She's already upset. We hear the phone going off over there. But, a lot of people know this is Century Spouting. And by the way, you can go to centuryspouting.com right now and follow along on the website. You can also call them at 1-800-292-9676. But, Marshall, you were sitting there listening to what we were talking about a moment ago. And, we hear about business being the backbone of America today, small business. You're a business that has less than 50 people, and yet you are a business that I saw the other day firsthand that really cares about your people, and you're trying to do right by them. How hard is that to do in today's economic climate?
It makes it very difficult. planning and treating the folks right, that's number one priority for us. I've got a great bunch of people working for me. They're, I couldn't ask for better. They're out there working every day. They're out in this kind of weather, taking care of people's homes. And I try to treat them right. And it makes it difficult. Planning for them, taking care of their insurances, really has made it difficult over the last couple of years.
I'm sure you're, like the rest of us, watching the Affordable Care Act arguments before the Supreme Court. And again, your costs have gone up just like every other small business in this country, right?
Incredible. 2 years ago, we took a 70% hit on our insurance for our folks, and then followed again last year by a 40% hit. And I'm afraid we're coming up in June on another re-up for our health insurance, and I'm afraid I'm going to see another 30 or 40% increase. And we're absorbing this as well as we can, but more importantly, a portion of that is paid by our folks, and they're out there struggling, trying to make ends meet, and we're having to saddle them with this. And affordable, it definitely isn't. It's a tough one.
And you're providing a quality product out there, quality products and service for people. Tell us a little bit about yourself. You got started in this early. You kind of went away from it. You came back to it. Of course, Century is a great name. It's been around here since 1976. Yeah,
I started in this industry way back. I think I was 13 or 14 when I started putting on my first roofing shingles, and I carried that through and started my own company in 78 and ran that till 85. And I came down here and been in Western Pennsylvania since Central Pennsylvania since 85.
By the way, just to interject, you're from Buffalo originally, which is today would be called Flurries, right?
Yeah, it's Flurries. And ironically, my brother, he's run. I sold the business to him that I started in 78, and he's still running it. It's up there in Western New York, and he's saying they've gotten a tremendous the snow and the ice, everything just causing all kinds of damage on homes up there. It's just it's a different environment. And ironically, on that note, seeing I cut my teeth up there, I brought a lot of that knowledge down here, and I'm incorporating that into our business down here. There's things that Central Pennsylvania is a much nicer climate than up in Western New York. But I build things like they are in Western New York. They're going to withstand that type of an environment, and that's the way I look at it. And I preach that to the folks that go out onto the homes and work it. Make sure you do it this way. This is the way we want it done. It needs to last years upon years.
We're talking with Marshall Nowak, the head of Century Home Improvements. Marshall, you said you started 13 or 14. You got a business started. The entrepreneurial spirit obviously was alive and well in you. What did you find out there about being an entrepreneur at such an early age?
Well, the most important thing is that you have to talk to the people and listen to them. You need to find out what problems they have and listen carefully, and then you're the expert. They're relying on you to take and come up with a solution to their problem, and you have to do your research. You have to look for the best product out there, and then when you deliver it, they love it when you deliver it. We get accolades left and right on the things that we do to take care of them, and they're really appreciative of it. And that's the important thing. That's what I find out about to be a good entrepreneur, you've got to listen.
Is that your biggest satisfaction when you see the happy notes or someone come up and say thank you, or you get a Christmas card or that kind of thing?
Oh yeah, absolutely. We received one this year where we done quite a bit of work on the home, and it's a substantial amount on the exterior, and they sent a real nice letter along when they paid their bill, which was great, and we put it on posted it on our website. But at Christmas time, they followed it up and thanked us again, and that's really top shelf for me. That's you can't describe what it feels like as an owner.
And you go from a business that you started, you sell it to your brother, you get into some other business over the years, but you kind of always had the idea of coming back and being an entrepreneur again. And then you get a little bit different role. You pick up Century, which has had a great name here since '76. And now you become not just a custodian of a business with a great name, but you're trying to even expand that and make it better.
Oh yeah, absolutely. In any business, you want to expand them, make them better, and improve on what's already there. And that's what I've done all my life. I've taken and looked at what we have and say, all right, how can we make it better? What's the things that are limiting us to making it a better company, a better operation? And I make those changes, and it's proven a good track record when we do it that way.
There are a lot of people sitting out there right now with this winter going on forever that are looking around and saying, man, I've got a bunch of projects around here. I should have done that a long time ago. Well, the time is coming. We may see summer here sometime soon. I think it's probably going to happen sooner than later, and spring's coming. So now's the time to really start to plan some of the projects, whether it's a roofing project, or you and I were talking the other day about awnings and patio covers, or siding and trim, decks and sunrooms, windows and doors. All those kind of things are going to need some attention this coming spring and summer.
Yes, they absolutely do, and we can handle again all the exteriors. But if I were to give any advice out there, I say the obvious: take care of your roof and your foundations. Those are number one. Make sure those things are taken care of, and then work on the awnings and the decks and everything. They're all important, but make sure you take care of the foundations and the roof first, because that's really where it all begins.
Obviously, if you have a roof this year, and hopefully you had a roof over your head, we've watched what's happened in Boston. We saw roofs caving in. We haven't had that much snow here, and yet at the same time, we've had enough to maybe cause some damage and maybe some leakage, things like that. Talk a little bit about roofing and what you guys do in the roofing area.
Yeah, well, this winter in particular, with the cold of the winter, has really stressed the asphalt shingles, the majority asphalt, and steel and metal roofing. It's all been stressed beyond areas that it's had in years around here. February was our second coldest in the history around here, and January, I'll tell you, if it wasn't the coldest, it had to be. Our guys were out there working, and it was tough. And but anyhow, on that note, it started to make things more brittle than what they normally would be, and you get any kind of ice buildup, snow buildup, and it wants to rip and tear and pull things apart. Expansion, contractions, foundations that never lifted before are lifting. You're all of a sudden doors are sticking that didn't stick in the past. Well, that's all because of the freeze that we've been dealing with, and the moisture we've been dealing with.
We're talking with Marshall Nowak, who's the head of Century Home Improvements, and you can give them a call at 1-800-292-9676. You can also check out centuryspouting.com, and I'll tell you what, go to the video tips that Marshall does. They're really well put together, and it gives you an idea of some of the things you should do. I know it helped me because I'm looking at that and I'm saying, geez, I should be doing that right now. And so it does help you if you've kind of not thought about that or you've put it off for a while. We are in a day and age where a lot of us say, well, what do you have on site? I went through your warehouse 2 days ago, and I was amazed, first of all, how organized it is. I wish you'd come over to my house and fix that up, okay? But I was also amazed at all the things you have on hand. And one of the things that I was talking to your assistant, Amanda, about was the idea that you are going green now, too. You have the solar roof shingles, and that's a big thing that a lot of people are talking about right now.
Absolutely. It's one of the things that is different than the previous solar industry has introduced. This is actually something that's very streamlined and fits right down onto the roof deck. You don't have these ugly, gaudy framework that's sitting on top of your roof, and you can work that in. It's actually built in right into the shingle. You don't have an asphalt shingle underneath it, so you defer some of the cost of that asphalt shingle, and you put it into your solar system, and it works out very, very well. It's warranted. It's got a very, very strong warranty on it also.
Unlike the government, you like to make sure that people are pleased with what you do. In fact, I would say you're a stickler about that in talking to you the other day. And you gave me a great story of driving down the hill over to Elizabethtown one day, and there were shingles that you had bought from a particular company, and they had been put on a roof, but they ended up being different colors. And you saw it, and you go out and inspect these jobs when they're done, and you had the entire roof done again. That's the kind of attention to detail that I love to hear from an entrepreneur that really wants to do it right. And you called the company and said, hey, listen, this wasn't right. We got to get right shingles. We got to put them up there. We got to do the job right. I think that's great.
Yeah, that's exactly the way, you have to look at that philosophy. And I do it from one end to the other. I try to take and step up to the plate every time that we have an issue. And you don't hit a home run every time. Just like this fella that we put this roof on up there in Elizabethtown. He actually told us don't bother. And I said, no, we're going to make it right. It's not that much of a difference. It is to me. It's not right. And the other thing that I want to interject here, Gary, is that if I don't have a supplier or a manufacturer that's working with us on cases like this, we don't use them.
Right.
If we put something in and they don't stand behind it with us, then guess what? I move on. I find a better product line, and I do my research. I try to get it in there. But like I said, we don't always hit a home run. But if we have to, we go back and make sure it's right.
I'm getting ready for the spring, and one of the things I found I have on my back porch the other day, I didn't know the name of it, is a pergola. See, now I know the name of that. Actually, I called it the structure. It had like a tent over top of it. It kept the shade on it, but it's a pergola. Man had to help me out with that the other day. My problem is I have one of those awnings over the top of it that after about 2 or 3 years, even taking it out during the winter and putting it back up in the spring, it gets old. And you even do that kind of thing. First thing I said, can you do a project for me? And you said, absolutely. And then you rolled out a book that was about a foot thick, said, what kind of fabric do you want on there? We'll come out and check it. We'll talk to you about it. That's the kind of stuff I like.
Yeah, we're there. We listen to what you needed, and we've got enough of the expertise in the exteriors of the home that we can handle just about anything that is thrown at us.
I know siding and trim has taken a big beating during the winter too, and a lot of people come out and say, "Well, let's get out the power washer and do that and so forth." That's not necessarily the way to go, is it?
No, and you'll see on my tips. Power washing is not the best recommendation for siding, for vinyl siding, aluminum siding. You throw 1,800 pounds of pressure on that thing, on that siding, and water's going places you really don't want it to go.
Right.
It's getting up underneath windowsills and everything else. So it's a better. If you look at my tip, you'll see a better way to handle it.
Right now, home improvement projects are great to do over the winter months, and our winter has been extended this year. This is like last year, the winter that would never end. But one of the things you talk about is you can save energy by replacing windows, and now when we're looking at our energy bills, and I don't know about you, I've been looking at my electric bill lately. I don't like it much during the wintertime. What are some things you can do to save energy by getting those window replacements in there?
Well, depending on what you have and how old the windows are, but we're working with Provia, which is a top-of-the-line program as far as doors and windows. And when you go in and seal those windows up with a Provia triple glazing or double glazing with whether it be argon or krypton in between it, you're going to find an enormous value in putting those windows in. And also the other thing that's important, if you go to triple glazing, you're going to knock down the road noise like you would not believe. In addition to, if you look at your framework and you have the framework of the replacement windows insulated, which is an important factor,
right,
that's going to take and make that home even warmer and less drafty.
And the only thing you have to worry about is if you have Superman to the home, because Krypton will obviously hurt him. But outside of that, we'll be in pretty good shape, right?
Yeah.
You also want to close the door on drafts, too. And, a lot of people look at their doors. I know our door gets a little drafty now and then, and that's something else you and I might be talking about. But tell us a little bit about that, too.
Well, again, I reach back to Provia. The Provia doors are probably one of the top line doors you can get for replacements. And when we replace it, we're actually taking out the framework that's in your existing home and replacing it solid all the way around, and then sealing both on the threshold underneath that, making that all sealed and up through the sides, and then also the types of seals, that bulb and magnetic seals, the different types of seals that are available. Just make a new door just an incredible value putting it into a home.
We're talking with Marshall Nowak, one of the heads of Century Home Improvements, along with his wife, Pat. And we're going to be right back with him. And the little moniker they have is your no worries contractor. That's right, no worries. You can hear why. This guy doesn't want to let it go by if it's not done right. We're going to be right back to talk a little bit more about being an entrepreneur and what it means to do it right here on the Gary Sutton Show on News Radio 910 WSBA. Check out centuryspouting.com right now or call 1-800-292-9676 for Century Home Improvements. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Gary Sutton Show. By the way, when you go to centuryspouting.com, or if you've ever seen one of the Century trucks around, Century Home Improvements, there's a guy standing there with a thumb up, got a mustache. And I was trying to find out if that was the original owner of the company. And Marshall Nowak, who was the owner here, told me, no, that's not him. What's his name?
His name's Al.
What's his last name?
He's Al Aluminum.
Okay. Al Aluminum. So if you see that smiling, mustached face with the thumbs up, it originally started as Century Spouting Company Incorporated. And let's talk about spouting a little bit, because a lot of people right now are looking at their spouts and they're going, oh, my gosh, come spring, I'm going to have to get that sucker replaced. And you have, and one of the things I've been reading about a lot, seamless spouting. And that is one of the really good things up there that we talk about. Yeah,
it's an excellent way to go. It's how this company actually started in '76. Purchased the first machine that can run a length of gutter. We put them up 200 foot long already, and the whole system being a seamless, it just makes for a nice installation. You don't have leaky seams that you have to deal with, and we can get a clean look on a home. And years back, we did away with the old spike and furls. Many homes that we go into still have the spike and furls, and they're pulling out and they're half hanging out at the spring of the year, in the spring of the year when the winter right. ice has gotten to them. And we'll replace them with hidden hangers and make that job nice and clean. One of the things you talk about a lot is style and curb appeal for a lifetime. People want their places to look sharp from the road. And right now we're all figuring out ways to get our cars clean, our houses clean. We've got salt all over the place. But getting people to have a sharp look there, that's something you specialize in. Yeah, we do. We pride ourselves and try and make a job look clean and streamlined and make the person who purchased that product, make them happy. They want to look at it and say, I'm proud of that home. And that's really what we try to get to. I kid that Buffalo has summer, I think, from June 10th to June 15th. But here, our summers may be shortened a little bit. And a lot of people don't get a chance maybe to enjoy their decks and their sunrooms the way they'd like to for a long period of time. One of the things that you talk about is getting composite decks made. You've got screened-in porches. You got insulated sunrooms available as well. Good stuff. Yeah, all good stuff. All good stuff. Whatever you might need as far as expanding your home to what's there, you can make better use of that space that you have. And again, you can go to centuryspouting.com. You can call 1-800-292-9676, and you get professional installation and repair on every single home
that they're going to work on it. He's already told you. He's checking. He's driving down the hill. He's looking at the roofs. He's making sure that it's done right. And, there are all kinds of different things that can be done to your home. Look around and say, okay, what can be done right now once the snow clears away? Maybe you've got a project you've been putting off for a number of years. And, affordability is something, too, that people are looking at right now. What can you tell them about that?
Well, when you start to look at things, first off, you take advantage of now of the spring of the year. For example, we're sending out our postcards. That's kind of the signal for folks who've worked with us for the years. They're going to see our postcards come in the mail. Actually, this weekend will be the first of the mailing. But that's a signal. If you get on board with your contractor, even if it's not us, and you've got a good contractor, somebody that you've got that faith in, now's the time to make sure you're talking to that contractor, getting on board with them early so that you're in the queue and you're not rushed trying to get it in at some time that's not not workable for you or the contractor.
Marshall, your home should be a place you go home, you relax, you enjoy it. And one of the things that you guys pride yourself on, and again, you're representative of so many businesses, the small businesses in this country that do make us run. One of the things you specialize in is making sure that becomes reality, because a lot of us aren't. You're looking at one who's not very skilled with the hands and the ideas. And I was so impressed the other day looking at some of the testimonials and things that people have said about your crew, that they are skilled in that. And that's what we're paying for. And that's the kind of thing you're going to in your particular case with Century Home Improvements.
Yeah, and that's why we try and maintain a good wage with our guys and make sure, again, their health care is taken care of. We want them worrying about your home and taking care of your home instead of worrying about, how they're going to pay their bills and how they're going to pay their insurances and all. That's how we take care of our folks, and they then take care of the people that contracted with us, and that's really what we try and strive to.
So what you're saying is you take care of your family so they can take care of our families out there as well.
Absolutely.
Marshall, it has been an honor having you with us today. I'm looking forward to talking more with you, and I'm looking forward to seeing. My wife already said she can't wait to see that book with all the awning type fabrics, and we're looking forward to that.
All right. Great to be here today, Gary.
And again, it's Century Home Improvements, brand new company. I'm promoting them, and I'm telling you why, because they do great work. A-plus Better Business Bureau rating since 1980, serving Central Pennsylvania since 1976. Right now, you can call them at 1-800-292-9676 or go to centuryspouting.com. Check out the tips that Marshall has there, and also some of the great blogs that have been written by Amanda Seal. They're all right there for you.